Assalamu alaikum. You know, my main thing is prophets. You know, I've never idolized or had any kind of hero besides prophets since I was very, very young. A little boy. Ever since I asked my mother the question, who created everything, and she said, God. And it just blew me away, you know. From that point, I went trying to find out as much as I could about the one who created everything, and it led me to, you know, the Bible at first, and in the Bible it's the stories of the prophets, you know, the closest ones to him, besides the angels, but, you know, that we can relate to, that were all men. So, you know, with me, it's different. I can't get into, you know, these so-called preachers, you know, and different people, unless they, you know, are coming from that angle, you know, and it can't be a twisted angle. It has to be an angle that's right in tune and in line with the messages that they brought. You know, it tends to evolve from there, starting with Adam, you know, Adam and Eve, you know, where, you know, the best message and understanding you get from them, those two, is, you know, that, you know, they forgot God. They forgot the remembrance of him as far as, you know, his instructions of what to do and what not to do. And when they lost that or forgot that, that's when everything was just, you know, just right for Satan. Just come in, slip in, and give them a suggestion, you know, and to deceive them, and then they fail. But it goes, you know, beyond that, you know. It's a succession of prophets that came, you know, and all of them came with the same message, you know, there is no God but the one God. And as time went on, man, you know, got, I guess, into, the cahoots or relations with Satan, you know, and was enticed to do things like murder, lie, cheat, and steal. And here we are. Anyway, I'm not trying to be any kind of super person. I'm just trying to be a regular guy, you know, just somebody that's normal. You know, I don't have no super credentials. I didn't go and get a degree from school. I got some certificates, you know. I'm a barber for like 40 some years, discuss, you know, things with a lot of preachers and imams and different people. But, you know, in that process, I was one that just couldn't stand by and let anybody just tell me anything. I had to read and try to understand and find out on my own. And, you know, I did that little part of studying, you know, no different from, you know, you was in school and we had to learn addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. You know, you had to go through the process of learning in order to understand those things. And, you know, one profound statement in the Bible says, you know, study to show thyself approved, but at the same time, it's one thing, it's a question that Jesus, he says, in all things, get ye understanding, you know, because before you can fully know that 1 + 1 is 2, you have to understand the process of how to get to from 1 + 1. Before you can know anything, you have to understand the process, and it's a learning process that shows you intricacies of understanding what it is that you're trying to get to know. If you don't study, then you're setting yourself up to be just led, just guided by, you know, people that's probably don't even know themselves. And in a sense, you're being led to the fire. You're being led. You're being led. And that's one thing, you know, I have many stories about being led. You know, a lot of prophets were shepherds, and they led sheep. You know, they led sheep. And the sheep just was one that grazed and just grazed and didn't graze too much, or it regurgitated it back up. It threw it back up if it was too much for the lining of the stomach to hold. So If you comfortable with being a sheep, then all praise be to God. Be a sheep. But at some point, if the sheep is paying attention and trying to understand what the shepherd is feeding the sheep, then the sheep one day come out of that scenario, circumstance, or that attribute and becomes a shepherd itself. It doesn't continue to be a sheep being led everywhere all its life. So I like to share a hadith with you all, just to see if you can relate to it just a little bit. It's a hadith concerning Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and one of his companions, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. They were in a gathering with some people that weren't believers. They were just, I guess you would call them wicked men. And at that time, they were sort of berating Abu Bakr. They was just dogging him out, insulting him, just negative conversation all the time. So he sat there and he didn't say anything, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he sat there, he didn't say anything, but they just continued just dogging him out. So finally he got fed up with it, He turned around and he just defended himself. That's all he did. He defended himself. And when he did that, Prophet Muhammad got up and left, like with the expression that he was sort of disappointed in Abu Bakr. So Abu Bakr caught with him later and was like, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why did you just leave when I just was defending myself? So the Prophet explained it like this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, as long as you sat there and took it and let them just do the negativity, he said that the angels defended him on his behalf. The angels did. So he said, as soon as you decided to defend yourself, the angels left and Satan came, so I left. So what do you get from that? Listen, there's a lot of things that happen in life, that people are going to dog you out and do negative things. But at the same time, a true believer is like the earth, and this is what I heard, and I'm just paraphrasing, and I'm repeating what I heard concerning this, and it makes sense. A true believer is like the earth. In the earth, we dump everything on the earth. We pollute it. We dump everything on it, garbage, filth, trash. But beautiful things come from the earth anyway. And we're going to be like that. But if we tend to, try to fight back with those negative things, then all it does is create strife. And then you have a back and forth, going back and forth. And that's what Satan wants. He wants us to go back and forth. He wants us to really contend with one another instead of trying to just be like a flower that, it's like the earth. We put things in the soil, and some of it's not very nice, some of it manure, certain things, but look at the flower. The children of Israel. There's many prophecies we can go into, all kind of prophecies concerning them. We can go deep into what happened to the children of Israel, from back with Moses, Pharaoh, and during that time, and the rule they was under, and then them getting them out from under that, and wandering in the wilderness for 40 days, 40 years, 40 whatever, that's not the point. But being out there and, just being taught by Moses the instructions that God left him to give them. And then through the ages, after Moses left, he predicted there was a wicked and evil nation, and that's us. That's us. We are that wicked and evil nation. It was said that we've been in bondage for over 400 years, and but then it says that if we would only change, turn from our wicked ways, and come back. But see, we found out, but we're not trying to change from wicked ways. We really engrafting back into the wicked ways of our ancestors, and bigging ourselves up as being a God besides God. And his thing is, it's only one God. And that's the main thing I have about this movement right now, about the Islamic Hebrews and the Hebrew Israelites. They are putting themselves in a position as if they are the big. And the thing about it is, that's not us. We were the first, first ones chosen for this message, but then at the same time, we went astray. We went astray, then he chose the Christians. And the Christians started worshiping Jesus. Then he chose the Muslims. The Muslims, they bugging, but at the same time, the last messenger was the messenger for the whole world. So if we as Muslims don't follow his pattern, his way, his message, if we don't follow it, then his message is for the whole world. And he prophesied 3 generations after me, his own community wouldn't be of him no more. But at the same time, the ones that come behind us and understand his message, God gonna do away with us. He gonna raise them as Muslims. But we don't get it. We think the Hebrew Israelites, nah. Hebrew Israelites can be of that sect, of that party, of the ones that was prophesied about, that they turn from the wicked ways and they, come back to him. And coming back to him means coming back to the message, the true message that he sent through all the prophets, that ended with Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon all the prophets. The ultimate objective is to come back to the message that the prophets brought from the beginning. And the key is the prophets. The prophets ending with the last prophet, Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't hate to keep saying it like that. I gotta keep saying it like that, because that's just it. We run around here chasing our tails, thinking we're the one, you know what I'm saying? We're chasing our tails. The Christians, they're chasing their tails, and they way out there. They done split them up in 3. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. At the same time, the children of Israel, they rejected the Jesus that came, what I'm saying? That's their main plight. They know Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet, but they still waiting on the Christ, man. And at the same time, it's like they, our ancestors forgot God. And God caused them to forget and lose their own selves. He says, remember me and I remember you. But if you don't remember him, he'll cause you to forget your own self. And then here we are, the black Hebrew Israelite slave that don't even know ourselves, not our true self. And we're trying to engraft ourselves into the ancestors of old, into the same rhetoric or the same history that they practice, that caused them to lose their own self. One thing about it is that when God prophesies through one of his prophets, and he says that if one come to you and prophesy, if it don't come true, discard that. He's a liar. He's a false prophet. But if one comes and prophesy to you and it comes to pass, God sent him. It's a prophet. Things are happening that was prophesied. And children of Israel, that's supposed to happen, but you got to take the context from the Quran. Because the Quran talks about the children of Israel, the people of the book. Talks about the Christians, the people of the book. And it talks about those sects that they can, be saved. They can be saved, but at the same time, they have to discard the foolishness, the made-up lies, the falsehood that's mixed into their truths. Because this truth mixed with falsehood. We're not saying discard all of it. We're not saying all of it's false. We're saying there's falsehood mixed in there that you're not even aware of, mainly because you don't study. And that's the thing about it, because you can question yourself. Have I studied? And if you have, how did you study? When I was part of the church, they used to have you to study, and they said you can read the Bible in a year. And then I'm thinking you're going to read from Genesis to Revelation, understand how the serpent in Genesis became a dragon in Revelation from beginning to end, but at the same time, no, how you start like in Ezekiel. Read a few verses in Ezekiel, and then you go to Isaiah, then you go to Revelation, then you go to Genesis, then you go to Deuteronomy, then you go to John, then you go to Acts, and you jump around, and before it's over, at the end of the year, you done read the whole Bible, but in a way that you can't even put it together. So I ask you a question, right? All you Christians that read your Bible like that studied like that. If you was in school, right, and you had a history exam, say next week, and everybody else read their chapters 7, 8, 9, and 10 the way they're supposed to, from beginning of 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you read yours, we started up and read a little bit in 10, go to 7, read a little bit there, and go to 8, and go a little bit there, and go to 9, and a little bit there, and go to 10. And then you just read, and you study that way. You study real, real hard, but that's the way you study. You take pieces out of context and out of the places they're supposed to be, and you blend them and mend them in areas and positions where they're not supposed to be, but that's how you study it. And then you turn around and you take that test. You think you're gonna ace that test? You might pass. I doubt it though. Because you're gonna get things confused and mixed up. And the only part you might get right is the part that you studied that's locked in, and the question is specifically concerning that little passage that you studied. But at the same time, when you gotta flow into the other passage and woo. But at the same time, you still out there. And then the things that are unnatural, that's causing the earth to be destroyed, like the pollution that goes into the air and messes up the ozone layer, that causes all these different storms and different strange natural disasters, or not unnatural disasters. And then we turn around and we live like that. We live like that when it's spoken to us about, being married, a man and a woman, having a child. A natural way to have a baby where the man enters the woman and emits his seed inside the woman, and then from that fertilization comes a child. And then we turn around and we make that into an abomination. See, it's TikTok. We can't talk. We can't be real on TikTok. We had to play these games to try to get a message across, But anything unnatural, in and of itself, it dies. The natural order, when you look at it, you look at the original man. And we ain't got to talk about all that. We know who the original man is. The original man is the one that gets attacked, oppressed, you know. But at the same time, it's strange to me that you know, everything's set up, and you know, people that don't really know, that really came afterwards, they wrote books and they write books and they put out information that they steal, because a lot of blacks originated a lot of technology, originated a lot of equipment, made most of the things that you see that from its origin, a light bulb and things like that. Most of the blacks did that, but at the same time, other people came in and stole that information, just stole it, and then they wrote books about it, and they twist certain things about it, you know, same way they did the Bible. And then they put books out there, and the first people going to buy those books and read them is blacks. But then, you know, every now and then you have a black man come out and write a book. And I know some of it's far-fetched, because some of the material we gotten is from the same people who got it from us and twisted it. So it might comes out a little bit, whoa. But then truth comes at you like a straight arrow. And then you can search for that truth. You can study that truth. You can find out just how true it is. I'm saying this just to say that I wrote 2 books, working on my 3rd. And it's sad. Anyway, we won't get into that, because regardless of whether you buy a copy of my book or not, I've already won. I've won to the point that when I leave here and go into the grave, I'm cool with it, because I found out things that you've yet to learn, because you out here still chasing TikTok. You more interested in, you know, going through TikTok and find a channel where, you know, she's shaking her butt, or he doing something that, you know what I'm saying, intrigues you, and you want to just stay there and just be dumbfounded over the foolishness. But then you got all this knowledge out here that you let pass by you, and in a minute, when you blink your eye, life is gonna be over. It's gonna be gone. You're gonna be in that grave, hearing the screams. Yeah, you're still gonna be able to hear. Oh, man. But anyway, we won't get into that. You know, you can ask me about it. I'm all on social media. I'm on just about everyone that's out there. You can inbox me. You can direct message me. All that. Or you can keep on shaking your ass.